I'm a graphic designer, a design educator, a letterpress practitioner, a fisherman, a craftsman. How does craft apply to graphic design in a digital world? After all, graphic design is just a click of a mouse, right? Wrong. What does craft really mean when you're a graphic designer? Everything. Craft is involved in the making of something, the process of how and why we put things together. It consumes you, takes hold inside of you, makes you dream. Craft is design. So who am I? Like many designers, I'm a collector. I've always collected things: baseball cards, stones, coins, newspaper clippings, beer bottles, things that interest me, things I think I will need or use someday. Collecting is a necessary formulation of how I make my work too. Inherently, designers are collectors. I collect research, data, concepts, images, text, information, and transpose these collections onto my design, such as repurposing beer bottle labels. Most of my career has been spent using digital methods of design. I appreciate the control these tools offer, but I've often felt the results lacked other qualities. With the computer and advancements of printing, my work can look perfect, in perfect registration, on the finest of papers. Technology has allowed designers to produce with utmost precision and craft. While all this may seem evolutionary, I find this approach to working to be boring and expected. I needed a shift, a reboot, a revival. Wanting to expand my knowledge as a designer, I enrolled in the Vermont College of Fine Arts MFA in Graphic Design program. VCFA's independent study model allowed me to step away from the screen. My new craft, letterpress. A 500-year-old printing method that feels 500 years old. I reverted back to collecting. I immersed myself in the process of building a studio. As the challenge to find the antiquated presses and old wood type grew, the more fixated I became on building up the collection. This hunt became a daily ritual. Every morning I sipped coffee while I trolled eBay and Craigslist. My travels have taken me to Maryland, New York, West Virginia, and many small towns in Pennsylvania. With the support of your college, I'll build up my studio hard and fast. In just 2 years, I acquired 10 presses, a massive collection of metal and wood type, plenty to play with and learn from. I then spent months working in the letterpress and learning the craft in order to make my prints in my shop with my wood type and my metal type. While I was drawn to the traditions of letterpress printing, I was also interested in exploring beyond it. Designer Keecher Dean Dixon said, "Just as our tools push us, so must we push our tools." I turned to an unexpected collection of car lettering and serpentine belts from junkyards. Like the Dutch designer Karl Martin, I began to deliberately misuse this media to create unique prints to tell stories about how things are made, how things work or don't work. I'll call this work autotype. It speaks to a language of industry, but the forms are more deliberate. It's my attempt to take control of an unwanted resource of typography. I separated these letter forms from their original function, typically what brands an automobile. I like to work with things that had a different life. I experimented with the letters as I found them. Noisy and naturally distressed, the prints consist of disruptions amplified by adhesives. These letters become objects, evidence of a language that is here and gone, and now here again. A connection between the past and the present. What is old is new again. After all this work, it was time to engage others and invite them into the fold. My studio is good for creative thinking and collaborative making. I'm open on First Fridays. I conduct workshops with the community. I now teach letterpress at your college. I even built a mobile letterpress. Hundreds have visited my making space. This give and take, this back and forth, this catch and release fuel my creative process. In fishing, to release is a method of conservation. It's a way of giving back in order to later experience the catch again. In my work, releasing has become a method of replenishing. To release is to educate, to share, to give back, to ignite ideas. Like good karma, it might come back to you better when you let it go. Through these methods of making and sharing, I'm able to release the results out into my community. Like fishing, making is only as important as the giving. The catch and release work in tandem. They are a mechanism. You cannot have one without the other. Release has become a connection between art and gift for me, a passage of knowledge from old to young, student to teacher. Isn't that what designers do every day in their practice? They catch and release. I cast a net, pull it in, and then feed it back out again, one after another. Catch and release.